What's it been like running around the club this week ahead of your first Heineken Champions Cup final?
It's been more of the same, really, Sinead, in the fact that with the planning, they've changed, I think, the protocol, and the fact that obviously there's a lot more stringent testing for Champions Cup games in relation to top 14. I think top 14 were tested twice or three times in the week, but for Champions Cup going to England, we have to be on top of it. So we had testing Monday morning, but you're not allowed to meet or congregate in groups or train as a team. So there was a few little individual meetings, but it was essentially a day off for the players. We had a good morning on Tuesday, and Wednesday will be off. Thursday will be the main training of the week. Friday, we travel Thursday because we have the early captain's run slot on Friday morning in Twickenham. So that's not ideal, I suppose, because it means you're kind of 2 days in hotels, and now there's nothing really to do. Even there wasn't much to do prior to COVID, but at least you could get out, go for coffee and go for a stroll and do something. But it'll be hard going for players just to get over that boredom factor. But you contrast that with where we want to be, and we want to be in a Champions Cup final. So it's pretty standard preparation at this stage, but in the bigger scheme of things, it's a hugely exciting week for the club. But I suppose for the playing group, it's business.
Leinster were kind of hotly tipped, and you kind of touched on it afterwards in your Examiner column. Leinster were hotly tipped up this end of the hemisphere anyways. Is there less of that element of surprise there when you're playing against Toulouse and there's more familiarity?
No, that's a big challenge. It's probably a bigger challenge than the Leinster game, and the fact that I think there's no baggage with Leinster. It was a new club. It was someone outside of our, I suppose, inner bubble. And there's a lot of, I suppose, mental turmoil associated with Toulouse with certain players. So that's been a big challenge to trying to, I suppose, wash away that negativity. And it doesn't stand for anything really, even though we've played them twice this season, we've lost. But it'll be different teams, different contexts, and a different occasion Saturday. So you can read whatever you want into that, but it would be dangerous, I think, certainly from my point of view, to put a big emphasis on that. Obviously, it's probably easy for me to say that, but if you've spent, all your career playing for Munster and you're playing Leinster in the final, there is massive importance, and I suppose psychological side to that game. But from my point of view, it's new to me. I'm not constrained by, I suppose, perception or what may have gone on in the past. So it's about, I suppose, constructing a game plan for Toulouse, the excitement involved in that, and also the challenge of preparing a team for its first Champions Cup final.
So what are you doing this week to kind of overturn that negative baggage that players might have with Toulouse?
I think you just have to really reiterate what a great opportunity it is for them as individuals, but also for the club. And it's where all the, I suppose, the top players in Europe want to be. They want to be running out in Twickenham and that this weekend. And I think that line of pressure is a privilege. It really is. I think this is where you want to be. And I remember I was probably overcome with it in my first European Cup final against Northampton. It was the one, that cost an awful lot of Munster legends a medal. And it doesn't sit easy with me still to this day, and it's a massive regret. But you can't change the past. You can only prepare your players for what's ahead of them. And there was good learnings for me, and there always is learnings in life, and you're trying to set them up to succeed. But they're not robots. They have emotions, but you try not to tap into that side. They will be juices will be flowing on Saturday, that's for certain. But it's about sticking to task and trying to implement what you've done for a season, and hopefully you show the best side of yourself come kick-off time.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's 21 years since that day at Twickenham. What do you remember about that day? And how long did it take you to get over that?
It was tough as a 15-year-old playing it, wasn't it, Sinead? No, because that's something you learn with experience, and it's crushing as a young player. And that was me. But I think literally, especially for playing for someone like Munster, what it meant so much. You know what I mean? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But you got to take good lessons from it. They were horrendously difficult at the time. But you know what I mean? I think from my point of view, when your goal kicking technique wasn't up to scratch, you have to re-scratch the surface and get it better. And that there's a lot of hard learnings that come from failure, but that's an opportunity to grow and get better. And that's what happened. And as they say, the rest worked out well. But that's me. It's not about me, you know. It's about La Rochelle and having the opportunity to get the best out of these boys that haven't had that experience. With that, we have World Cup winners in our squad. We have some brilliant South African players. We have a Fijian who's in top form. We have a lot of good French internationals, and we have a mix of experience and youth. So I think we have the firepower to challenge and to cause problems to Toulouse. But what they have on their side, they have the big advantage of being there, done that. But from our point of view, the journey has to start somewhere. So hopefully it starts on Saturday.
Yeah, it might be the club's first European final, but as you mentioned, those experienced players and also the likes of Will Skelton, who has played and won these finals before. So, you know, what will be your key message to the players who haven't experienced this kind of occasion, even though I know there's only a limited number of fans there? But have you thought about that? What your
we have thought about a lot, I think, Sinead. I think the most important thing is that they play the moment and they don't play the occasion. You know, I think it's for the TVs and for the the sponsors and for the supporters to kind of focus in on a Champions Cup final. Once the ball is kicked off, that's irrelevant. It's of no importance to anyone. So we have a job to do. We've got to kind of make sure we kind of own our moment, and from that moment it becomes a new moment, and after that moment there'll be another moment. And it's about trying to just get a little bit of a point of difference on Toulouse, and they'll have a plan to disturb us. And that's the beauty of sport, and that's why it makes it hugely exciting. But I suppose contrary to my years as a player, I think as a coach you actually do look forward to the kick-off time, and you can't wait to see how it unfolds, and you're hoping it goes well. But I think you can live with yourself because you know you've prepared well and the boys have prepared well, and it's their time to show what they're made of, and that's what excites me.
You mentioned there about that you have to have a point of difference. Speaking to you before the Leinster game, you definitely appeared content that you had cracked Leinster the days leading up to that semi-final. Have you reached that stage yet with Toulouse where you've kind of gone, okay, we could get them here? You know, is there any particular point? Have you reached that point yet?
No, it's very difficult with that in regard, because I don't think there's a test team in the world that has Colby and Dupont together. There isn't. One of them plays for South Africa, the other plays for France, but two of them together are a deadly combination, and that's not talking about the 13 others. Where we had advantage over Leinster was physically. We just have massive men that can wreak damage on the gain line. Toulouse have the same size men as we have, so there'll be some horrible collisions, or depending on if you like collisions, there'll be a lot of collisions on Saturday. But it's about trying to identify where the space is too, and getting into space and expressing ourselves and showing the best side of ourselves. So, obviously we knew how difficult Leinster was, and we were good against Leinster, Sinead. I think we struggled in the first 15 minutes to get up to speed with them, because they want to run the legs out of us, and they did for a number of minutes, and they caused an awful lot of problems for us. With Toulouse, it's a different emphasis. It's an emphasis on trying to do you want to start again, that one?
Yeah. Sorry. How was it different, Toulouse compared to Leinster? Yeah.
Just for people who, I suppose, who enjoy the physical side of the game, just with the I suppose the size of men we have in La Rochelle, we were going to have a physical advantage over Leinster. That won't be the case this weekend. There's massive men that play for Toulouse, Joe Takori, to name one, of the two Arnold brothers, so they have a massive physical side to their game. So they'll be looking to carry at us and hurt us as well. Leinster were kind of coming at us in the fact that they challenge our fitness, and they did that, and they succeeded for the first half an hour. But we're probably fitter than people think, and that was one of the things we've worked on hard this season. So from our point of view, You mean you have to try and identify one or two weaknesses in Toulouse, and like us, we have weaknesses as well. So we kind of identify where they are, and it's whether or not we can execute under pressure or not on the day.
So essentially, does this game challenge you more, or trying to come up with a game plan for this challenge you more than it did for Leinster?
Well, it's a final, so it's a stage further. There's less margin for error, but no, it's equally as challenging. The final four is obviously where you want to be. We're down to the final two now, and I think, as you said, there was probably a little bit of a novelty in the fact that we're playing a team out of our domestic competition, out of our country, and it was something a little bit new. We're used to facing Toulouse, but obviously we have nothing like the history they have, and they've have incredible history in the Champions Cup as well. But we're not letting that weigh us down. We're looking at it as an opportunity to strike and to kind of put our club on the European map.
Two final questions, Ronan. Is this beyond your wildest dreams? Like, when you look back to starting at the start of the season, like, did you ever imagine you get here? I know the end point is to win this, but like, did you ever imagine you get to this point so soon?
Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't thought about it like that, but when you say that, you have to acknowledge the reality that you're doing good things, you know. Sorry, the team is doing good things. I'm not looking for a slap in the back there. I think, yeah, but it moves very quickly and it changes very quickly. We have momentum. So the key in sport, as you know, is once you have momentum, you got to keep it. So we're doing our utmost to do that, but we've got a lot of threats around the pitch. We've got a lot of different, I suppose, attributes in different areas of the pitch. So for me as the coach, I need to be able to change that point of focus, whether it's up front, whether it's out wide, whether it's through the middle, whether it's in the air. We've got to identify how we can make a difference on Saturday. But one of the things I said to myself is you got to enjoy the journey, and I am enjoying it. But you know, I mean, to think we've been in a Champions Cup final in the at the start of the year, I probably would have said that's hard to believe. But things change very quickly, and with the quality of players here, I'm not surprised.
And finally, have you allowed yourself dream? What would it mean to you to win as a coach?
No, I haven't, to be honest, because you know, I think it's very important to be passionate about it, but if you're emotional, that emotion fizzes you over the top and you lose concentration, and you take your eye off the ball for a split second, it could cost you. So I have to stay on, I have to stay on task. I would like to think Saturday night, whatever way it goes, I'll have a kind of a review of myself and a review of the team and see what I can do better the next time. And that's great that you're doing that at Champions Cup final stage and you're not doing it at failing to get out of your pool stages. So it's a very exciting time. It's a great challenge and something that I'm, as you can see, I'm pretty up for.